Hello, welcome pen friends. Today is actually November 30th, so December starts tomorrow, depending on when you're watching this video. But for me, as I'm filming this, December starts tomorrow, which means Inkvent starts tomorrow, and I'm really excited about it. However, right up to this moment, I've been so busy that I have normally I would have a video before this and be ready. In fact, this is normally when I would put out a Chris's Inked Pens video for like December, but I decided not to do that, and I'm going to kind of walk you through my thought process. Mainly, I've got pens that are still inked that I'm finishing them and then I'm cleaning them. Just every day I've got a couple that I'll clean as they finish. And because I'm going to be exploring a new ink every day in December for the Inkvent up there, I thought, I don't really want to lock myself in. I want every day, I want to kind of explore the ink, make the ink tile, and then I want to decide, do I want to put this in a pen right now? So I decided to make a whole tray of pens where they're my first instinct of pens that I'd like to use when I explore a new ink. Especially, when you open it up each day, you don't know whether it's going to be a shimmer ink or highly saturated or a chameleon ink, all these interesting attributes. So you can imagine some of my pens, I really don't want to put that in. And I do trust Diamine inks. It's not that. It's that I'm a lazy pen cleaner. I'm just going to be honest. If I can get away with the easier pens, the ones that are easier to clean out. So I thought I would go over with you the tray of pens that I got out so far. There's a little bit of nib swapping that needs to happen, which is a good thing that I noticed that early in the day today. So I can do that because I'd really like to have everything ready. Whenever I'm going to do a challenge like, well, Inkvent is not necessarily a challenge, but every day I'll be exploring a new ink. Whenever I do something like 30 inks, 30 days, which this is very similar to that, but it's much more like a little present every day, a little tiny ink bottle. Let me make sure I don't do any spoilers. This is the first one, which the other thing I'm going to look at is how I'll be opening them. So we'll open the first one, but I'm not doing anything with it today. I'm just getting it ready for tomorrow because I'm thinking every day I'm going to open the one for the next day because they really get it on there real good. And so I've got a couple tools. I thought we'd try that. Anyway, it's like, where was I? Okay, toward the end of the video, I'll explain what led up to this day because November has been like an explosion of really good stuff and things getting accomplished around here. But at the same time, I acted sort of like a general contractor and it was extremely busy for me. So me and Coko, we're a little bit like off kilter, and every time there's a noise or a doorbell rings, we're a little nervous. But I think the last of the inspections are done, so oh my goodness. Anyway, we'll talk about that later. But let me go over the pens that I pulled out, by instinct that I want to use, for this challenge, or this month, or exploring these inks. Let's put it that way. So I got, might as well let them all float to the end. This is a cigar box bottom that I unscrewed, and I just put in the, the little insert for the, so I could put pens in it and just lay it on my desk. And I've been really enjoying this. It's not perfectly cut, but you can't hardly see that. But the first one that I picked is, as always, is the Lamy Vista with a broad nib on it. And then next is the TWSBI Go with a broad nib on it, a blue one. Hopefully I'm not totally crooked here. And then I got two TWSBI swipes, a smoke, and I'm not sure it's the blue one. I can't remember the name of it. It's like a turquoise. Maybe that's the name, I can't remember. That has a broad nib. These two are extremely easy to clean. So is the Lamy. The only thing about the Lamy Vista is that their converters are not the easiest to clean, but I have gone on Amazon and kind of upped my inventory of converters because I have to, and if I'm using an ink that I think is gonna, like a Noodler's or something that might stain, I have a stained up old Lamy converter that I'll use, but pretty much their converters are a little bit tricky sometimes, but I still make it work. So, okay, where are we? The swipes. And then this is a Jinhao 82 with a little Goulet broad nib on it. And then I've got 3 TWSBI X750s with, I can't remember I think this one has a broad nib and this one has a broad nib. And maybe one of them has a stub nib. But that's the thing. Tonight I'm going to go through and make sure I understand what's on each one. Because those are also, back in my ink reviewing days, they're my very favorites to use. They're so easy to clean. And I've got Jinhao converters rolling all over the place. Actually, they're all in a container. But you know what I mean. There's plenty of them. And then this is the Nemesine Singularity, and I like this pen very, very much. Let's see, what do I have in there? That I've got to see. I really want to see because I can't remember. Okay, I did put a Goulet broad nib. I'm used to having the Nemesine 0.8 in this one, so I was like, what do I have in there? Oh, another TWSBI Go with a broad nib. Yeah, I did a little finagling with some of my nibs, so I think this Smoke one actually started out with a stub nib, but I swapped it for a broad nib that's not the broadest TWSBI nib, but it's still really nice. So, how many have I got here? Let's see. 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16 pens. It's not 25 pens because I don't expect that I'm just going to be dying to ink up every single ink. Last year and even the year before that, it was more like maybe half or better that I wanted to try right away, and others I could wait for. So, okay, next is a Jinhao 100 with a broad nib on it. And then there's the 2 Schneider Rays. Now, I know those will be excellent, you know, and one in black and one in like a berry color. They are a medium, but they write like a broad. Maybe even they're medium broad, I don't know. And then 2 Fude nibs. Those jumped right out at me when I was looking for the Jinhao X750s. I thought, oh, those Fude nibs are fantastic. So I would encourage you, if you're doing this challenge and you want to be ready with kind of options, look through your stuff. The pens will just leap right out at you. The ones that you know are fun to experiment with ink. If you're, and you may be, you may not have the calendar, you may be doing 25 inks, just whatever you have, which was almost what I was going to do this year. And I think it would have been a good idea, actually. I should have done, could have done. Mom says not to use that should word on yourself. Don't should on yourself. Should on yourself. You know, I could have done all Birmingham inks, but there's something about the Inkvent calendar where so many people in the community are doing it that I fell in. I fell into the ink arena. Okay, and I'm not sorry, and I'm very, very appreciative, very grateful that I had to add money to get it, because there is no way I would have gotten it otherwise. Okay, so then up here, kind of resting on top, is a Diplomat Magnum, which has a beautiful little broad nib on it. It's the prismatic purple, or there's another name for it, but I thought, well, even though I don't have a slot for it, that's wonderful. So these are the ones where if I see, you know, if I open up Swatch and start scribbling around with the ink with a dip pen and I decide I can't stand it, I've got to have it inked up. These are kind of my first line of what I'll turn to. I almost pulled out a couple of my Opus 88s, but they hold so much ink. And it doesn't mean I have to fill them, but I'm like that. I'll probably fill them. So way over here, let's see, this video is like the video that almost didn't get made because Coko spent the morning on my desk. I'm telling you, he knows. Coco's my cat, for anybody who is new around here. He knows when I'm going to make a video. He knows without me doing anything or saying anything. In just the slightest little specific type of movements, I guess, around my desk area, and he knows. Well, right now he's sleeping back there. Let's see. Dare I risk this? Yeah, I will. He's there on the chair, fast asleep. He's a baby. He's such a good boy. He got a little bit upset with me earlier because I told him I was going to take his picture instead of letting him be in the video. And one of the expressions on one of those pictures, you could just tell he was not too happy with that. But I was, except that when it happened, it was so serendipity that my hair was all messy and I didn't change my shirt. I was just, you know, it was nuts. Okay, so he's sleeping, which I don't understand why he's sleeping. I'm surprised he's not knocking everything over, but I'm glad of that because it just preserves the pens and everything. Okay, so this is the second part of it, which actually is the first part of it. I did go ahead and get out some of my dip pens. And first up were the, oh, this could be a little tricky. These are much lighter weight. I hope not to throw them on the floor, but 2 Serendipities, which was the worst of the scramble because it looks like I have a medium Goulet nib on the first one. I always would rather have a broad nib, but I don't like to unseat the broad nibs off of the pens that I really want to keep them on. So I thought, well, that's all right. And then the other Serendipity has a Goulet fine nib, which why I would think that was, you know, what I wanted on there, I'm not sure. There may be a reason for it though. Okay, then over here I've got a little MD Paper Products with a Nemesine medium nib. This is kind of a hodgepodge. And then I've got my old glass nib pen, which I may or may not use, but I like to have it handy. And then these are my now current kind of favorites for ink exploration, the Sailor Hokoros. I've only had one problem with these, and it was just with one of them. I cracked it. But interestingly, looking at it, here it is, okay. And I'm not sure if you'll be able to see the crack because it took me a bit to see it. Yeah, it has a little crack in it. Kind of made me wish I'd gotten the gray ones, but that's not going to affect how it writes. And I've got like a Fude, a 1.1, a 2.0, and a fine nib. So I've got all those and they clean up easily. So the other thing I've done to prepare, because like I said, I have to make it pretty near idiot proof for myself or else I'm just not. I've got 2 sets of cards all cut out and for the tiles, for the ink tiles that end up looking like this. One set that I'll keep for myself and one that I'll send over to Matt for inkswatch.com. So I'm all set to do that, and whichever ones look better I'll send to the website. For me it's just, you know, how much ink resistance, how does it end up, you know, kind of looking. So I made extra. I made more than 25 of each of the sets so that I could be ready. Because I'm not trying to make this into a chore. I have done that in the past, so I've learned a lot of lessons not to do that, but to just, like, I'm thinking that it'll be an early morning thing for me because sometimes I'm a little shifty in the morning. I have to get up so early with the cats and they demand to be fed, and then it's like I can't go back to sleep. So I'm thinking I might just, you know, it'll probably end up by 6 o'clock. I'll be here at my desk because it'll be actually something to look more forward to than just, I mean, I journal every morning, so I think I'll really enjoy seeing the color. The little notebook I'm going to use is a Goulet notebook with 68 GSM Tomoe River paper and a dot grid. And then, well, the little sticker came from Atlas, but was sent to me by a friend, but that's where I ended up getting the Inkvent this year because they had a pre-order and I had a coupon for 10% off, which was fabulous. I couldn't believe it went through, but it did. So that's just really nice. And then the other thing that I've got going on is that in my main ink journal, the Bond Travel Gear Tomoe River 68 GSM, which I have a huge announcement about that in a minute, but I did do a spread. So every day after, the ink tile is like ace number 1 for me. I want to do that first, and then I want to get my each ink, let's see, into this, which is just a really pretty spread on Tomoe River. The last time I did it, let me show you, because then you can see why I just am addicted to to doing that. Whoops. Oh, well, I could have put a bookmark in here beforehand, but like I said, I was mostly... Here we go. Okay, this is last year's finished spread, and that's why I just like it so much. It's a quick reference for me forever to look back and say, how much does this one look like that one? You know, and doing the comparisons is where it's at. And I noticed there are a lot of people doing stuff like that now, and I'm really excited about that because every single voice that's putting energy into ink and helping us understand which ones are like something else, it really, really does make a difference. It can kind of make your buying very targeted, and instead of just willy-nilly and ending up with so many that end up looking the same. So, I mean, that's how it all started for me. Making comparison tiles was all about, do I really need to have this purple and this purple and this purple? Well, in the case of purple, yes, probably. But in other color areas, I could realize that they were too similar. So I'm really looking forward to that. The announcement is that a pen friend sent me, just very spontaneously, and I'm going to put their initials down in the description when I write this out, a brand new one of these notebooks, which to me, to my way of thinking, they were not available anymore. So that's going to mean that I can move from this one into another one, because I just absolutely love them. And what a shock, what a surprise. Thank you so much. I was just blown away. I didn't think that there would be another one left on the planet at this point, because they changed into Lockbee and they don't make them anymore as far as I know. And so, but I have another one and I'm really excited. So, okay. I did do one little index card and I also have a little mind map that I can use too. I wanted to just kind of, maybe to pep myself up more than anything, kind of go over my 3 main objectives for December, I guess you would say. So the first one, and I'm talking about in the hobby, in the fountain pen hobby. There are other objectives too. Oh boy. But actually Manuel is out right now and he hardly ever goes without me. I go too, but it was just, he was going in to give information to each doctor, and then he was going for a shot. And I thought, I am certainly just a passenger in that. I said, would you know, do you think it'd be okay if I stayed home? And he said, oh yeah, stay home, do your video. So that's how this video is actually getting done, because normally I go everywhere with everybody. So, okay. So December, the first objective is to get, to make the tiles every day. That, for myself and for the website, for inkswatch.com. The second objective is to keep up with my pen pal writing. That's something I love doing, and anytime I write a letter, I end up in a part of my brain that's just much more calm, and it's good for me, it's good for the person that gets the letter, and certainly I have my letters over here, and this is a neat little bin that Mom gave this to Manuel years ago, but it was more of a match for me. He used it for a long time to put bills in, but now he has a different system, so that's how I keep them. And I actually have it's supposed to be in the front. Yeah. Anyway, these are just names, but the names and the check mark boxes, because that keeps me in straight. What's next? Kind of in order that they come in. But anyway, so Inkvent tiles, pen pal letters. And then the third objective for December that kind of connects with the hobby is my journaling. So I'm going to be reflecting on 2023, and I'm going to be I chose a word already. I did that with this little book that I have called Manifesting Magic This Year. This is by Heather. Her name is Heather, I think. Or did I just pull that out of... Sometimes. Interesting too. Heather Mattern. It's, kind of a little process journal on how to choose your word of the year. And this is the first year I just went ahead and wrote in it. I thought, this is not going to get done if I have to recopy. So I ended up, actually using it the way it's supposed to be, like a little workbook. And I highly recommend it. I've had a word of the year almost every year since probably 2017. And I'll even share my word with you. It's powerful. The word I chose after a whole bunch of deliberating and going through process. I almost chose strong, but then when I started looking the words up, strong was kind of associated at times with, how do I say this without it sounding bad? Because it's not a bad word at all. It came very close to being my word. Strong, being able to withstand, you know, but that's not what I want. I want to be a force. I want to be powerful in creating in my life and in my home and relationships. Yeah, I need some power. So that was the word. And I didn't want power. I wanted powerful because I wanted it to describe what I want to be. Not like an evil genius or anything, but powerful versus, you know, helpless or whatever. So then I also scrawled down at the bottom of this card what December was like, but I really wanted that to be last. So let's see. No, what November was like. We have not started with December yet. Okay. Okay, so this is the mind map. See, I debated. I thought my library has 6 projects running. One of them isn't even mine. And you can get in there. It's not goat trails or anything, but for me to move my chair into place and my tripod and set up the scene there, it just wasn't going to happen. But I didn't want to be flipping views. I actually just wanted to talk to you like you were here, like you were sitting in the chair here with me and I was showing you this stuff, because that's basically, you know, what I have for you this time. I didn't ink up pens yet, but that'll come. And I have been able, luckily, to do a lot of journaling and reflecting and preparation, even though I've been so busy. I don't ever remember another month that has been this active for me. And it's been really good for me because, you know, after the roof was done, then 2 more major projects got finished. So unfortunately not the kitchen floor, but I am no longer worried about that because I'm seeing that now in perspective that it will get done. It is cosmetic. We're going to get there, but I guess I'm also thinking that I ought to have this done before he gets back, because then I can hear about Manuel's adventure and I can not be telling him, please turn the TV off or whatever after, you know. So let me see. I can hold this up. There's nothing top secret here. This is just my little mind map that kind of shows me December at a glance, which I think is kind of cool. I'll be turning 60, so I've got some ideas about what I may want to cook if we do stay home. And my restaurant of choice, well, I have a friend who's going to be on vacation, and I'm kind of thinking, I've tried to save up some money, and I'm thinking that I might end up being able to go out to lunch or something. So there's a couple of ideas there that I think we both like a certain place. And then, of course, I already know what Manuel got me for my birthday because he let me choose. So that's exciting too. And I'll be sharing those things with you. So that's one little arm. And then the Inkvent arm is there. Let's see. Up here, where I'm going to make the 2 sets of tiles. Ink journal. Yeah, ink journal, dip pens. And then my Lami's, Twisby's, and Jen House. Oh, and I'm joined a writing challenge that is being done by Ink Journal, by Tom at Ink Journal. And I think it's called Open the Door to 2024. It may have something more to it. But he's doing that, and I decided to sign up for that because I have reviewed my year, chosen words, and tried to plan for the next year all by myself many times. But I thought in community it might be even better. I don't know how long that'll be open. By the time you hear about this, it may not be open still, but I'm on his mailing list, you know, like email. I always get their newsletters, the FlexNib Friday and writing prompts and everything, and I just love everything he does. So I know that the prompts and things that he'll do will be great, even before we start, I'm sure of it. And I think, you know, well, anyway, I don't want to talk about specifics because that's a class that, you know, it's, I think it was $25, but, and I did that before I found out we actually were going to have carpenters, but that's okay. We thought they'd blown us off. And okay, so then exterior of the house. Okay, so part of December that I was talking about, non-hobby related, I'll be painting what's been fixed back there. Disposing of old wood, and also researching, because I've got aluminum siding that kind of looks bluish that needs to be painted. But I'm thinking that my strength is learning, and I can learn, and at least even if we end up having to save and hire for that, I need to understand how it's supposed to be done. Otherwise, I can't ask for what I want. You know, I'll just be sort of like, the painters will come, right, and they'll do it, and whether or not the paint stays on will depend on whether they knew what they were doing, rather than me saying I need it to be this kind of paint. You know, I may have control issues, but that, to me, we only want to do it once, and we want it to be done right. So actually, Manuel seems to think that since I like painting so much, if he gets me the right type of a air type painter thing, that I'd be able to do that too, except for the really high part. So yeah, because I need an elevator for that. But nutrition. I'm definitely trying to ramp up my nutrition, and right around before Thanksgiving, I realized that was not going the way I wanted it to go. I had gone off the rails, and I've gotten myself reestablished with my vegetables and my protein, and, you know, not so much junk. Actually threw some junk out. I just had to. And then, okay, there's one little blurb here for channel ad money. That will probably stay right where it goes, because I'm feeling that no spending is necessary. I've got so many things to look at, try out, review, you name it. And money actually from ad money may need to go to something else, like paint, you know, who knows? And that's okay, because heaven knows that, you know, there's been a lot of overlap with my other funds too, so. Okay, so that was that. Okay. Gee, I am excited. Oh, I said I was gonna try something, and since I've already decided not to switch the camera view, I'll try to do it here without poking my eye out. What I'm wondering is, to open these little things, my theory in my mind is that a seam ripper might help. Because what I did last time was these, like, what are these called? Let's see. These are these little cutter bee. You know, they're pretty sharp, the scissors. But I wasn't really happy with that. I won't use my teeth because I've got, you know, I've got enough life problems without breaking a tooth or something. So I wasn't really happy with trying to, I would scratch the top. And this was 2 years ago, because last year I got my samples from Marilyn. Pen friend Marilyn sent me samples of the 2021 Inkvent, no, 2022, sorry. So, oh, I've gotten myself nice and inky somehow. I don't know how or when I did that. That's okay. So I'm thinking if we like take this seam ripper and get it under there. Oh, okay, that did kind of work. It made a rip anyway. Okay. All right, so we've got it started. See that? It did. I'm showing how blind I am. It started with the seam ripper. That was pretty. Now, I wouldn't recommend having your hand. Oops, I don't want the name of the ink to show. Okay, so then I would continue to like get that seam. Oh yeah, yeah. Okay, if you have a seam ripper, use it, because that was easy. That was easy. You saw me do it, right? And it's shredded. This is just a really cheap seam ripper too. I think I even have a sharper one. But I was just sure this would work. I even, like, I think it was Lisa from Van Ness was mentioning how bad they were, and we saw videos of people trying to, you know, get them open. But yeah, seam ripper, good job. Okay, let's see. That's day 1. Ooh, that's glittery. Oh, oops, I said no spoilers, no spoilers. We're not gonna do another one. I don't think we need to. Just, you know, you can get it under there at the top, and then you can get your fingers out of the way, because you do not want to jab yourself with these things. They are sharp. So you let, you know, hold it. Once you have that top part lifted, and you saw how that worked, then I would recommend just getting it under there and just continuing. I might have to do a separate little extraction on that, because that that will change my life. I did not like having to open these. The first time I had to open them all, and I made 2 sets for a giveaway that first year, and that next year, I was really grateful I didn't have to open all those bottles. I kind of wish they would do it different. Have a preparation or something. I guess that costs more. I don't know. Anyway, I cannot lose this. I got to make sure this stays. I'll put it in with my dip pens because that'll be the first tool that I use every morning when I get up. So you watch. Coko won't wake me up once. He'll probably like let me sleep or something because I'm all excited about having something worthy to do with my morning time. Okay, so I think the only thing left is to just talk. This is just the personal gabbing part. Everything else kind of did relate to the hobby. Actually, this, my pen friend Matt from over at the Ink Swatch sent me these. Aren't they cute? That hold ink vials, and they come apart too. Like you can have one, or you can have all of them together like puzzle pieces. And I need to read his letter again and see more, but that is just amazing. There has been so much lately, so many amazing things going on. But I wanted to just talk about my November because I think it's just, you know, people talk about how sometimes we just need to process things. Well, we've ended up accomplishing 3 major things. And the smallest job is the one that I really want to talk about the most because it was just so, it was such a frustration for so long. And the assumption had been that it was going to cost a whole lot more money than what it ended up costing, which, you know, it was not cheap. But we had this old part of our, that's not even the right word. It's the back of our bathroom. And after they put in a great big fiberglass tub unit, then of course that was finished. But we had trouble with that contractor, and this was 1991. So it was a long, long time ago, over 30 years ago. And so we did this, we were both working, and our child was in school, and I don't even remember anything about like going to get the materials or knowing what we were doing, which obviously we didn't. But there was insulation in there and there was plywood, but we used some kind of pressed siding board, which none of the rest of the house is done like that. It's all done with real wood siding, or it's whatever was there was covered like with aluminum siding. So heaven knows what's underneath some of that aluminum siding that was done back in the 70s before I came into the picture. Anyway, what happened was last year, I think it was last year, or maybe it was early this year, I was mowing and I realized that looks awful. I touched it and it was just like almost putting my hand through. So the lower part of that board was just like disintegrated. And so that's when I started going, oh my gosh, we really need to figure out what's going on here. So, you know, Manuel went out and taped it up with white duct tape and it looked great, but it was, we knew it wasn't right. And so probably, I don't know, somewhere in this, we went and bought everything that we thought we needed. We were still missing a few pieces, but we bought and cut the wood and everything, but then he had his heart trouble and it just wasn't going to happen. So back before we even got the roof done, we saw carpenters working across the street, and I told Manuel, I said, they're actually replacing some of her rotten boards and everything, and the truck said roofing, but they're working on her siding. So he walked over and talked to them because they're Spanish, and he went over and talked to them, and they promised that when they got done with the job over there, they'd come and give us an estimate over here. And we figured maybe since we had the materials and everything, it wouldn't be too bad. But then, of course, we did the roof, and then we did something with our HVAC system that I'm not ready to talk about yet. I'm just super grateful that that's all sound and taken care of. So Tuesday, I think it was, the doorbell rang. And Manuel was still in the bathroom. He just got out of the shower, and there were the carpenters. So I said, oh, hi, and I had to go get him because basically I wasn't too sure if they wanted to talk to me or whether English was completely enough. It didn't seem like it, but I went and showed him and took him out there, and then I got him to come out, and they quoted one price, which was okay. It was fine. It was a little more maybe than I thought, but we had the money. So I thought, oh, but they're going to come back. But they told him, while I was in here pacing the floor, making holes in the floor, they told Manuel, oh, it's nothing. We'll do it right now. And then they ended up knocking $150 off the price, and we got the whole job done for what I considered very reasonable, because he went with them to Home Depot and got the very few things left that was needed. And they did a super job, and they did it in half a day, and a little bit maybe less than half a day, and it was $300. But Manuel told me, he looked at me, he said it would have taken me 4 days to do what they did, because there was some things that needed to be fixed there. All of the I don't know what you call them, 2x4s were fine, but it just was, it's hard to rip off all that old black tar paper. But in the garage, we had everything. We even had the moisture barrier stuff and just about everything we needed. So they were like delighted, and I think they were as delighted as we were. So it was just like, if you ever have something that is actually fairly simple, but you just can't do it yourself, or you're just not visioning it, because once you rip in and take off your wall and your bathroom is exposed, no, no, I want to be able to take a shower. There was sheetrock up above and all that, but still that feeling of exposed, to animals and everything else. So that's the most exciting thing, and it was $300, but it's now not a worry anymore. It's like, I wonder how long that'll take for that to disappear from my. I was carrying the energy of needing to get that done, knowing that I personally wasn't, Manuel was not about to let me even rip it up and start, because he wasn't sure whether him helping me, the two of us, could actually do it. But he said, oh, we could have done it, but it would have taken us 3 or 4 days. And in the meantime, it could rain again and stuff. So anyway, it's a really, really good feeling. I'm going to be on a super tight budget because of the HVAC stuff for next year, but I'm even happy about that, because what it means is I'm going to be more creative, because I'm not going to be focused on looking for new things. There's so much right here that has been sent to me and that I have gotten, and I kind of feel like a powerful shift toward going back to where I used to be. I'm not going to be the same person, because we just don't go back. But I'm excited about it. I'm excited about 2024, and I'm super excited about doing that journaling with in Tom's class there. I guess you could call it a class. Actually, I think he's calling it a writing challenge or something like that. So I saw that, and I didn't hesitate. I had the money in my commercial account, my little my little pen account, and I thought, there is nothing I can think of that would be better for me than journaling in community and focusing on fine-tuning what I want to do to move forward. And it's not just pen hobby. Of course, there's other aspects to life, but some days you couldn't really convince me of that, though. And I'm kind of glad in a way that I was so distracted all of November. I'm going into December completely hungry for ink, hungry for pens and everything else. I'm thinking the Benu pens are all clean. And so if a ink really gets to me, that it's going to go in one of those. Like if it really is a color match for one of those, for the Scepter or the Euphoria, or if the Talisman my original one that I had. So I hope that you have even 10% of the excitement that I'm feeling about you know, spending as much creative time as I can in December and really enjoying it. Kind of, you know, I hope that you have that as well, and that you have time, because I know that the way that my life is right now, I do have time. Sometimes I feel like I have too much time, but that's one of the things I'm going to work out in the writing challenge and in my preparation for 2024, because actually I'll leave you on this. A huge compliment happened from these carpenters, even though I let Manuel kind of talk to them and find things for them and assist them, because I get really nervous because I understand Spanish, but I can't speak it. So if I try to speak it, I usually end up saying something ridiculous, you know, that doesn't make any sense, and I get really embarrassed. But anyway, he came while they were gone they did all the ripping. And then he ran in and said, they're going to finish it. I'm going to get the parts with them and we'll be right back. So I went out and it was, oh my God, it was a mess everywhere. And I thought, you know what? The fact that they were going to do it that day, I was so happy. I cleaned it all up. I piled everything, you know, leaned it all over at the side. And then I got my wheelbarrow and I cleaned it all up. I had my heavy duty gloves and raked everything so nobody would get a nail in their foot, and I was just really excited. So and I was excited, but at the same time I thought that it was anyway, I don't know if I should have done that or not, but they gave him a big compliment. They said, wow, your wife really likes to work, doesn't she? And the truth is, I just love being outside and doing stuff. And I love it when there's some aspect of a job that I can actually do that doesn't require a skill that, you know, or you know, something that is either too heavy or too difficult, or I don't have the right tool, because, you know, that's kind of the way it is. I can learn anything, and I was around carpentry a lot as a kid, but having all those tools and understanding every layer and how it should be done in order to stay good forever, because I don't like things that have to be redone, and at least not within 30 years. Things ought to last. That's how I feel. Right, Coko? Good heavens, he really is sleeping still. So, okay, so happy December, and I will be checking in with you. We will definitely do a progress report mid-month, no matter what. But likely there'll be something before then, because I kind of wanted to share with you let's see. Yeah, the 2 items that I ended up choosing for my birthday. I want to share that with you. And maybe I'll even be able to incorporate that if that, okay, one item is a pen. Not an expensive pen, but a nice pen that was bought way early in the year and locked up for me for my birthday. Manuel said, okay, but that's for your birthday. So I said, all right, sounds great. So I'll be checking back in with you, and thank you for watching this video, for listening to me go on. And I'd love to hear in the comments if you're doing Inkvent, or if you're doing ink in December, any sort of ink, or any sort of hobby related stuff. Whatever you're doing, I'd love to hear about it. I still kind of have a feeling that I'm missing something with my dip pens. I know I lost one of them. I can't seem to find, I have a rounded ornamental one, and I can't find that one. It's in a dip nib holder somewhere, so that's something for me to look for. But definitely I've got plenty to work with here, just to preliminarily see, you know, whether I like the ink, what I like about it. And those are really fun for the shimmer and all the really dark saturated ones, so that I don't have to go into January cleaning 100 pens. But it could happen. It could happen, and I'll let you know what happens. So, oh, I guess I was going to talk more about this, but what I'll do is put the information about this down in the link. This is really nice. She, I think, put this together in 2021, maybe? Well, it says copyright 2021. And I heard about it from Bree at, she's an artist and creator. Documented Journey, I think, is her. Documented Journey? I hope I'm saying that right. She has a YouTube channel. She's an artist, and she recommended this, and I've used it for a couple of years now, but like I said, I really let it rip. I wrote everything right into it, and I did feel a lot clearer about like what I want to try to focus toward for 2024. Okay. I promised to end this a long time ago. So let's end with Coko. I'm not going to wake him up, but we'll end with Coko. And I will see you on the next video. And yeah, he's got his window open. It's kind of, you know, weird there, but oh, he's just sweet. And I put one of his favorite beds on there so that, oh, sorry, Coko. I said I wasn't going to wake you up. See, you want to say hi to the people? No, I'm sorry. You're a good boy? Well, you see, I'm the best little boy, Mommy. I'm the best boy. Okay, bye. I'll see you next time.